How do you feel? How do you feel about Sunday? What's the anticipation looking for you?
Yeah, listen. Firstly, good morning, everybody. Huge excitement here. I'm in our offices just opposite the fairgrounds, and we just had a meeting internally. There's so much energy, and it's kind of strange. We're coming 5 games behind us, unbeaten. But this, to some degree, just because of the changes in capacities and the first opportunity to get closer to what we'd all, I guess, recognize as some level of normality. It almost feels like a season opener again, but it's great to be back there. It's over a year now, 14 months or so, I think, since that start that we had back in February, and there's just huge excitement. We did some stuff with our supporters on Monday night out at the new stadium site with some of them, and just hearing from people who were there that people are just genuinely excited about the game, and it's great that it's against the new expansion team, Austin. I was very fortunate with our owner, John Ingram, and some other people to go down to their new stadium recently, and they've done a fantastic job there, and we see ours coming together. So yeah, I think excitement all around about this weekend. Weather looks like it's going to be great. Sunday night, we'll all be hopefully cheering the Predators on in the afternoon, and then focusing on soccer in the evening.
Yesterday, the club announced that Jordan Davis will be having a halftime show, and that will be the first time since you and the Lion performed at Nissan Stadium on opening day. What are the thoughts behind creating those moments and bringing music back into Nissan?
Yeah, we a lot of what we said prior to even launching the team, and a lot of what we focused on was, of course, is really designed to come truly into its own when we get to the new stadium. But we said we wanted to create this kind of festival of entertainment on game day, and each week that goes by, and obviously last year was very, very difficult, but we introduced our Gibson guitar riff, which has been hugely popular, and I know on social media it's been some of the most watched footage that we've had for the team since we started, when people like Dave Mustaine played and others, and it's just become really popular, and so in that same tradition, one of the things that exists at Nissan is that stage that we do the riff from, and we thought, what great opportunity to bring live music in the halftime, and so really great opportunity to have him come play from his new album, and so lots of his fans, I'm sure, keen to get out and see live music and live performances again. So again, combining music from the Music City with soccer, and I hope it just adds to that overall entertainment value of Sunday night.
Thank you, Ian. We'll now open the floor for questions. A reminder to everybody to please alert me through the chat if you have a question for Ian, and we'll address them in the order of arrival. We will kick it off with Tim Sullivan with For Club and Country.
And do you have a ballpark of where the ticket sales are now, and then what opportunities will be, whether you're going to have game day sales or anything like that leading up to Sunday?
Yeah, we will have game day sales, Tim. We're really encouraged by how it's going. It's interesting. Although of course, with the new rules, we're almost able to open up the whole stadium. One of the things that we did consciously and communicated was that we really want to make sure that we find a solution for everyone who wants to come. And what do I mean by that? I think we're still in that place where I think it's important to allow people to come back and enjoy, sports, live sports in a more traditional environment. So without social distancing. But for some people, that's not necessarily what they want just yet. So we've almost got like 2 levels to the stadium, which is that the club, the club and the lower bowl generally, we're trying to pack everybody in to that without social distancing, and masks are optional, but we really would encourage people to wear them, but they don't need to if they don't choose to. But then in the upper sections of Nissan, in the 300 level, we're providing solutions for people that want to be socially distant. So I don't know where the number will end up. Right now, I would say we're tracking, certainly way beyond where we were on opening day this year. Our season ticket sales this year are up 24% on last season, which is incredible given we only really had one unrestricted game. So I think I would be much cleverer than I am if I could predict the number, but we're very encouraged by what we're seeing from Nashville and soccer. And again, still in this uncertain time, as I say, the vaccine's providing a lot of comfort and relief to people, but it's not completely there yet. And so I think it will be quite telling. I think what Sunday will do is it will show us how big the appetite is at this point in time. And I think it will show us that, it'll help us understand how long we need to offer both alternatives, the non-socially distanced and socially distanced solution.
Thank you, Ian. A reminder for folks to please alert me through the chat if you have a question for Mr. Ayre. We'll continue with Ray Fields from the Tennessean.
Ian, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
All right. Obviously, going into the season, or actually at the beginning of the season, the first week or so, we were talking about just the idea of having something of a vaccinated section and different ideas to try and incorporate as many of the season ticket holders, but also pretty much every fan into the lower bowl, and then obviously build your way up. Are there any extensions or developments in that category as far as a vaccinated session at Nissan Stadium is concerned?
I think similar to the last question, Drake, I think events overtook that idea. We certainly did all the work for that and actually got approval for that. But in the end, it was something we moved away from simply because, we've seen that there is a strong demand for people to be, with people, sat next to people, enjoying sports as they traditionally would. And so in the end, what we realized was that by creating vaccinated sections, we would actually have to move some people from their, designated seats, if you like, to create those sections. And so what we've ended up doing is, as I said, is really focusing on filling the lower bowl in a non-socially distanced way. And then from the clubs upwards, finding a solution that provides a combination of both, non-distanced and socially distanced. And we're very fortunate that, with the vast size of Nissan, that we should be able to accommodate, certainly at this point, we should be able to accommodate both of those solutions. I don't think in the end, the vaccinated section really offered anything that we're not offering at this point.
Tim Sullivan with a follow-up question.
Yeah, changing gears from this weekend to the slightly more distant future, what is the progress on the stadium? Are you guys still on schedule, ahead of schedule, behind schedule to open late May next year?
Yeah, stadium's on time, on budget, tracking really well. I was on a call very early this morning, seeing some of the latest images of that. They're pouring secondary level concrete on the steel work on the club side of the stadium. There's so much build out. I mean, from when we had the media day there, it's almost unrecognizable. We had, as I mentioned earlier, we had some of the backline supporters group out there on Monday night to come and see it, but also to see the area where they'll stand. All of the slab on grade, all of the concrete has now been poured in the lower sections of the stadium. So we're feeling hugely encouraged about how that's going. Weather's been good. Contractor has been outstanding. So only good things to report. And again, on attendance, we've been blown away by the interest. Premier Club sold out, Lowe's boxes sold out, the WeHo Club and Goalposter, the most recent premium products on sale, 40% sold out now, and that's before they've even gone on sale to the general public. So it's moving in the right direction. It's moving at the right speed, and the energy and demand for it is is incredible. So we're hugely pleased about it.
Chris Harris with NBC4.
Hey, Ian, good morning.
Morning.
You were talking about how you think anticipate Sunday's game will be like a season opener atmosphere. How many fans, how many tickets have you sold? What exactly are you anticipating?
I was just saying before, Chris, I think that it's hard to put in, it's a bit like that opening day. I think in the lead up to opening day, we were at, I can't remember the number on the sort of 4 or 5 days before. And then we had that 60,000 figure. The walk-up was huge. We saw in Nashville that there's a very late market to come for tickets. We're offering tickets. I think it's almost impossible to pinpoint it. If my best guess right now is opening day this season, we were just over 15. We'll definitely be beyond that. I really couldn't, we're beyond that now. I really couldn't say what the number will be. What I do know is that we've seen really encouraging activity, for our ticketing team, and we've seen, a lot of pickup in the last couple of days, which all trends in the same way as we saw back in last February. So hard to imagine. I don't imagine that we get to the numbers we got to last February, simply because we still have some of our own making. We're still creating some restrictions in terms of, as I said before, offering some socially distanced solution and some non-socially distanced solutions. So, but we'll pack a lot of people in there. I absolutely believe it will, it will feel like being back at a real live sports event, particularly in the lower bowl, where people will feel, that they're really enjoying all of that excitement that we all go to live sports to enjoy.
Greg Hills with a follow-up question.
Yeah, Ian, obviously with the accomplishments going up to this point, as far as the Nissan Stadium and hosting fans again, and putting everybody back to where they want to be, what's the next level or the next point that you want to reach as far as getting back to February 29th and how Nashville SC wants to host home matches? Is it, the single game tickets, having everybody back to wherever they want to choose? I mean, what exactly is the next step now that we've reached this current protocol state?
It's a great question, Drake. I think we have to be realistic, and we have to be respectful at the same time, which is that I think through the 2021 season, I think our absolute hope has to be that, and I don't think anyone knows enough just right now to know what that transition period is, but certainly within this season, I would be very hopeful that what we do is we, little by little, we reduce the numbers that we have to provide for and deliver for a socially distanced solution, and we gradually increase, the level to normality, and within both of those constraints, we will be driving. We're still selling, as of yesterday, we're still selling season tickets week on week on week. That, normally the season kicks off and that drops away. We haven't seen that. We've just seen people coming back and back. And I think that's an evidence of people personally feeling, I actually feel comfortable with going and doing this. And maybe they bought some single games and came to a couple early on and then have made that decision. And we hope that continues as things improve and people feel more comfortable and feel, safer, if you like. So I don't think we can pinpoint when and how. I think what we have to do is be respectful, and it's trying to find, as I said, that combination of giving as many people what they want as possible, rather than just saying there's no social distancing now. I think at this stage of the transition from, lockouts to where we are today, I think we really have to be respectful of the fact that different people want a different solution, and we'll continue with that as long as we feel it's appropriate. But certainly going into 2022, we'll expect to be back to normal and filling the stadium with as many fans as want to come and enjoy it.
Ben Wright with a question.
Yeah, Ian, this is a bit of a generic question, I guess, but kind of related to a little bit of what you've touched on. Obviously, like expansion years are important to just gauge interest within the market. And I'm assuming that was a difficulty of last year, just not having attendance numbers week in and week out to really be able to gauge that. But what's your feel for just the overall interest and demand for soccer in the Nashville market, given what you guys went through last year?
Yeah, it's again, Ben, that's a great question. And you're right that usually at this point in your life cycle as a new team, you'd be starting to understand what your average crowd might look like, going forward, and what your season ticket sales should be typically annually, and all those things. But genuinely, I don't think we do know that yet, and I don't think we could know that yet. It's bits of what I've said already, and as you said, it's kind of generic. I think the fact that we've seen, again, just reiterate, we have one game last season unrestricted, and we sold a bunch of season tickets, and to see a 24% increase in that number in 2021 shows you that more people who perhaps experienced that one game have stepped up and felt that they want to see more of that. At the same time, of those 60,000 or so people that showed up on that opening day, you absolutely have to believe not all of those people yet feel comfortable even coming in a socially distanced environment. And then the third piece is, we still have a whole bunch of people who maybe didn't come to that game, but, are seeing little bits of soccer, and we have to do the work to entice them in. But trying to do that in the current environment is much harder, because it's still not an open society where everyone wants to go do what they would typically have done pre-COVID. So I actually feel very encouraged about soccer in Nashville, about the support for soccer in Nashville. I feel like we will do, as I said before, we've only, of course, to date sold premium product for the new stadium, but I absolutely believe we will sell all of that out during the course of this summer. And then, equally within that sort of timescale, we'll start to place existing season ticket holders at some point into their seats, which is, right and proper that they get to go first into the new stadium. And then we'll start to sell, really turn up the heat to sell season tickets for the new stadium for next year. And there's nothing going on right now other than the uncertainty about the world that makes me think that we won't make a huge success of filling up that stadium for 2022. I don't see anything other than the challenges of, transitioning from where we are or where we were to where we need to get to as a community. I don't see any challenges. I think there's absolutely the energy and demand for soccer.
Team Sullivan with the final question of the day.
Yeah, how has the Onfield product lived up to your expectations early in the year? Kind of, obviously, we've talked a lot of business. What have you thought about kind of the sporting side from what we've seen through the first handful of games here?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. I think it's been great. Look, in the off season, it wouldn't surprise anyone that, when we sat, myself and Gary and Mike and others, and talked about our objective in the off season, it was very much, and sort of towards the end of last season really as well, was, we always said we wanted to gradually chip away at this from a roster perspective, and rather than throw everything at it in day one or year one, you want to evolve such that, you take what you take, you see what you've got, you analyze where you might be weaker or stronger. And coming into that final quarter of last year, I think we felt that offense was an area where we needed to improve and add more. And obviously we brought Jonda and Handwala to the group, and we saw a little glimpse of them last season, but they were almost like new signings coming into this year, and added Pinheiro and, continued to look at things that would, and CJ and continue to add to that. And that continues. And I think going in through those 5 games, seeing that we have, more points, more goals, they're the things you want to see. And I think even in the games, for me anyway, and there are much smarter soccer people than me to talk about the technical side, but even in those opening games where we slipped a couple of goals early in the game, I thought we looked, so much stronger offensively, coming back 2 goals in both games, but then also controlling the game. So I think we feel encouraged that, even going to Real Salt Lake, which is a traditionally difficult place to go to, and, getting a point out of that, which is, I think I heard a stat on the game day that something like 80% of their games they haven't, lost there. So that, I think generally we're in a good place. It feels great that we're unbeaten after 5 games. I think we feel excited about coming back home to Nissan on Sunday and seeing that the fruits of all that work put together against Austin, who've had a reasonably good start as well. And that, again, I was lucky to go down there a couple of weeks ago and spend some time with their people and the coach, and they're a good team. I think we really like. I personally like the way they've approached joining MLS, which I think has some similarities to us. We're very different, and we're each our own club with our own strategy. But I think it will make for an interesting and exciting fixture on Sunday night.